Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here in this special secret location deep within Motor City here in Detroit, Michigan, because guess what? I have something literally electrifying from Honda, and it's right here next to me. What is this? This is a 2024 Honda Prologue. But before we get into this all new BEV, battery electric vehicle from Honda, their first one in production ready mode, let's talk about what's going on here. The Prologue. It really has a lot of meaning for Honda, and the reason why they chose the name Prologue is because they're moving towards vehicles that it's all about zero emissions. By the year 2040, Honda hopes to have their whole lineup be pure zero emission vehicles, and that's one of the main reasons why they chose the name Prologue, because this is just the beginning. Now, when it comes to electrification, there's been lots of chatter from the auto industry because now you're seeing other auto manufacturers get into the game. Of course, everybody seems to have on the tip of their tongue always Tesla and the different models they produce, but now it's the brands that you're familiar with, the brands that you have purchased in the past that are bringing their electric vehicles to market. Now, what's fascinating about the Prologue, just like we talked about with the Acura ZDX, is that this is a little bit of a combo deal between Honda and General Motors. So when we have featured and talked about the Ultium battery pack setup that they use in the General Motors vehicles, you're going to see, because of that cooperation that's happening, also what's going to be in this Honda Prologue. But what I want to find out is, if you're looking for that smaller size, compact size, two-row crossover SUV that's fully electrified but also has that Honda nameplate attached to it, is the Prologue the best new one to buy? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this top trim known as the Elite trim and find out. Right off the bat, the dimensions. Very interesting how they have balanced the proportions of this vehicle, especially with the wheelbase, and we'll talk more about that in a couple seconds. Now, when it comes to style, you could see how they took the direction from other Honda vehicles, especially at the front, and brought that to the Prologue. So when you look at the front lighting, I'm really digging how they did the LED daytime running lamp. Of course, you have your LED headlights, and the fact that when you look at how far they come inward towards the center of the front of the vehicle, it gives it a nice balance to the size of that housing. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, this is the Elite trim. Are there other trims? Yes, you're going to have three different ones to choose from. Entryway into the Prologue is going to be the EX. Then you step up to the Touring, and like this one, you have the top trim, which is the Elite trim. Working your way down, I love the way they brought in some massive corner air curtains with some vortex generators there to clean up the air as it hits the front of the Prologue, slides through that corner vent, and then goes down the side of the vehicle. You do have LED lighting down below, and you'll notice that the gloss black that they use around that opening is the same that is in the lower corner portion of the front fascia. Now, as we drift and move towards the center of the front end of the Prologue, you'll see that Honda badge prominently displayed. The way that they did this upper portion to the front fascia looks very similar to something you would find on a Pilot, on a CR-V, on an Accord. Those types of design elements have been brought into this vehicle because obviously, being their first true production BEV, battery electric vehicle, they want to keep things familiar to Honda buyers and people that want to come into the Honda brand. Forward-facing camera on this top Elite trim, nice to see that placed. It's going to help with obviously parking and in those tight situations. When you work your way down, the way that they shaped this lower grille area, very smartly done with the gloss black, some flat black, and then the silver trim kind of just buttons it all up very nicely on that lower lip edge. Now, remember, we do have functionality in this lower part because of the liquid-cooled battery pack that we have, that Ultium battery pack, and also think about the overall style. Like I said, trying to make it familiar. Now, when we rise on up, you'll see that big, bold hood, when it comes to power, there's two different ways you'll be able to get power with your Prologue. You'll have your front wheel drive option, which will be single motor, or like this Elite trim, you'll have all-wheel drive. So we have a motor up front, a motor out back. Now, if you're wondering, what about range, Joe? What's going on with that? With the front wheel drive, you're looking at 300 miles. When it comes to the all-wheel drive, we will have that information more for you as we get closer to when the Prologue is going to hit dealerships. When is that going to happen? That's going to happen, of course, at the beginning of 2024. Now, as we come around the bend, this North Shore pearl color is unique to the Prologue. It really fits it to a T. And the way that they set up this photo booth, this filming area at this secret location really kind of brings the true essence of this color and what people are going to be doing with the vehicle. Now, as we come around, wheels. Wheels are so important, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but also for generating that air down the side of the vehicle, that airflow. For a long time, wheels on EVs and other hybrid vehicles were kind of funky looking. They look like some type of science experiment gone wrong. I love the style that they chose here. Nice, large machined aluminum areas, the gloss black. And if you're wondering, well, what's the size of this wheel? This is a 21-inch wheel. So Elite trim, the top trim is going to have a 21-inch wheel. Your other option is going to be 19-inch wheel. So 19 or 21-inch wheel. When you're looking at the tire size here, you'll notice that, of course, you have the 21 inches in diameter, 275 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and obviously these Bridgestone tires have been maximized to try to increase that range, which, like I said, on the front wheel drive version, 300-mile range. I do like the way they brought the gloss black from the front around the fender opening. It doesn't flow too high into the actual fender itself. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section if you'd rather see it all color body match. Now, as we rise up, one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of this video is wheelbase. And what you're going to find is that the wheelbase is actually very long on this vehicle. And what I like about that is that it doesn't give you a bunch of overhang. So there's not a bunch of front end that's hanging over the front tires. There's not a bunch of rear of the vehicle hanging over those rear tires. Remember, when I say wheelbase, we're talking about the space between the front wheels and the rear wheels when you look at it from the side. So you have a nice long wheelbase that's going to give you a stable ride. On the lower portion, the way they did the gloss black, carrying it from the front around the fender openings down the lower portion of the doors, kind of edges out just a little bit to give it a little bit of personality. You have gloss black on your roof rails. Of course, on the Elite trim, you have a panoramic sunroof, so it's nice to see that. And then they also carried the gloss black onto your mirror caps. We do have 360-degree cameras, the turn signals built in, and they also went ahead and did it around the window openings. Now, if you want to know about horsepower, that's always a big topic. Since we have the all-wheel drive version, I'm going to give you the numbers on that in particular. 288 horsepower, 333 pound-feet of torque. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what kind of battery size are we looking at? 85 kilowatt battery size. And basically, if you're using your DC charging, you're looking at 65 miles worth of range in 10 minutes. There'll be more details about all the charging numbers as we get closer, like I said, to that full-on production and what you're going to have available at your dealership. But coming down the side, I really like the way they didn't do the two-tone. Remember, on the ZDX, they had that two-tone on the Type S. This, having the body color up top and also down below, it makes the roof line not look so high. And I actually like that about the vehicle. Now, working towards the rear, the way that that belt line comes into your rear fender and then flows super clean into the taillights. And just like up front, you got some beautiful looking LED taillights. Look at how great the taillights look on this Prologue. Something that you don't see a lot when it comes to all of the detail in a taillight with other brands. You could clearly see all that they're working on this Prologue. Now, you are going to have a gloss black shark fin antenna up top. I love the way they extended this low roof spoiler out. Obviously, this guy, I wish they would have done something else with it, so we are going to zonk that, but the way the roof spoiler extends out, and then of course, the angles on the rear liftback. This is something you haven't seen yet at any of the Hondas at your dealership. They spell the name Honda out, all that history, all of that technology being brought into this vehicle. Love the way they did that. You got your all-wheel drive badge. Of course, we're talking about this being an electric vehicle. There's that other signage there that lets you know that this is a BEV. And then, of course, Prologue Elite. Elite, like I said, top trim. The other two trims is going to be EX and Touring. And then to finish it off, just like we started, it's about balancing the colors. You have body color on that lower bumper, the gloss black, and then I'm so happy that they finished it off with that silver, just like they did on that front lip. But definitely a very clean style to this vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, let's get inside, because from what I understand, there's plenty of room for your passengers and your stuff. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Honda Prologue. It's so cool to finally be in this vehicle because we've been talking about this Prologue topic since we went to CES earlier this year in Las Vegas. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've always had Honda products. My grandmother had a Honda. My mom gave birth to me in a Honda. I'm liking this Prologue. How much is it? Well, full MSRP details are not available yet, but Honda is saying that starting price will be in that $40,000 range. It will be interesting to see how it translates through the different trims. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what the Prologue brings for whatever that asking price is going to be to the door panels. I like the two-tone style, and it feels Honda on the door panel. You have the soft touch material up top, just a little sprinkling of some gloss black, but that off-white color really is working. Now, there is some gloss black around the switchgear, which I am going to zonk that. Hopefully you have a microfiber cloth to clean that off. But the good news is you got a good-sized door pocket, and you could get a couple of those classic Detroit-style hot dogs, extra sauerkraut, and a Coca-Cola to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, we have a Bose sound system in here, more of that soft touch material. And then I like the way they took the silver and brought it towards the center with the gloss black. And what's good about this gloss black, you're not going to be touching it unless you really, really want to. So it kind of blends the exterior styling into the inside. Now, as you slide on in, you're going to get this tablet-style infotainment system. It's going to look very familiar, and you're actually not going to see it in another Honda product. This is actually right from General Motors. So something to think about when you're getting into this car. There are going to be some touches that you find that have been brought over besides the Ultium battery pack. But you're going to have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It's over 11 inches in size. And then, of course, you have that real deal volume knob conveniently placed right where you need it. Now, working your way down, you have a couple more AC vents cleanly integrated. You do have your AC controls, dual climate, heated seats, but no ventilated seats. And that to me is a zonk on the Elite trim. Now, working your way down, we do have two USB-Cs. We have a 12 volt, and you actually have this holder here where you could put an iPad. So if you have a full tablet, will actually just lay perfectly in here, and you could charge it using one of these USB-Cs. Down below, you have the perfect location for a purse, a merce, a sack, a satchel. You could even put a 3-pound bag of Idaho potatoes down there. So let's say that you like to make fries on the road. You could do that with your Idaho potatoes. I don't know if you want to use a Detroit potato. Might not have the right texture or taste. But you got plenty of room down there. And that's all brought to you because of where the shifter is. You don't have the shifter on the center console, so that really gives the designers freedom to come up with more storage space. Where is the shifter? That's going to be on the steering column right here for your direct drive transmission. Now, working our way back, I do like the way this is all flat black. You got your 2 cup holders. You got your wireless charging. Just drop your phone in there. That off-white, nice and soft. And then you lift it up. What do we got going on here? You got a nice little tray for some honey roasted peanuts. And then you have enough room in there. You could easily put, I would say, 2 boxes of Twinkies. And you probably could keep them in the box as well because there's lots of usable space in that center console. Now the seats, I like that they went two-tone, but they didn't do it like the doors. You actually have a gray with the off-white. You have full power seats for the passenger, full power seats for the driver, and then check it out. There's that panoramic sunroof. Gonna get everybody their vitamin D from the sun's rays. And the way it almost feels open and airy in here, it really kind of ties in that whole, like, being one with nature. I'm really digging that. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the steering wheel in this Prologue. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do get 2 memory seat settings for the driver's side, which is really nice. And what's great about this being a BEV, a battery electric vehicle, is look at how low the floor is. Wait until we get in the back seat, but even up front, you're gonna have more leg room. You got a nice sized dead pedal here to rest your foot on those drives. And then of course you have all of your seat controls, including that lower lumbar, very, very easy to get to. Now, when it comes to overall space, I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in here. Oh, wait, my phone's ringing. Hold on a second. Hello? Oh yeah, hey. No, we're still here. Yeah, we're still here in the secret location filming. Okay. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, and they don't put sauerkraut on hot dogs in Detroit? Oh, man, they're really missing out. All right, well, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it. All right, see you. So that was Andrew, one of our good friends that works for Honda and Acura. This being a pre-production model, there are 3 stages of ventilated seats. So we got to recant that zonk. We're taking the zonk back on the Elite trim. 3 stages of heated seats, 3 stages of ventilated seats. And yes, in Detroit, they don't put sauerkraut on their hot dogs. My apologies. But maybe you should give it a whirl. See if you like it. Anyways, back to business. Steering wheel, love the leather. Love the way they did that nice contrast stitching. You do have a heated steering wheel, which is great. That Honda badge, and then you'll notice that you have that paddle only on the left side of the steering wheel. That's actually to assist with regen braking, and you could actually come to a stop by using this paddle, which is kind of cool. Now, it is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, but look at what we have. 11 inches of pure visual size, smack dab right in front of you. It's got all the readouts, your power gauge. You could scroll through tons of information. And on top of that, you have a ginormous head-up display, which is going to allow you to keep your eyes forward on the road. But we talked about what's going on up front. Let's get into that back seat and see if your passengers are going to be happy you went Prologue for your next SUV. All right, guys, back seat time. And I'm telling you right now, I have not been shrunk. I'm actually still the same 6 feet tall that I was up front. But you could see that with this vehicle being a full BEV, you actually have more passenger room. Wait until we get to the cargo area. We got more room for your junk, I bet, back there as well. But on the floor, you could see because there's no drive shaft, there's none of those goodies from an internal combustion engine setup. You have that nice flat floor all the way across. They carried the two-tone into the back portion of the seat. And I'm so glad that they went with the darker material for most of the back portion of the seat, because we know that when your kids are eating powdered donuts and chocolate fudge and everything else, and then they're touching all of the backs of the seats, they're going to get fingerprints everywhere. That's going to be a little less in your face, and it's going to be easy to clean. Now, you do have large pockets, easily put, I would say, 8 to 10 Twinkies there. You do have rear AC vents and another area where you could put, I would say, 4 egg rolls from 7-Eleven, 2 USB-Cs, and a home power source. I'm sitting here, and what Lori's going to show you is that there's actually ambient lighting in here. And because the door's been shut for some reason the ambient lighting, there we go, I made it come back on. There's blue ambient lighting throughout the front, and there's also ambient lighting in the back as well. It's a little hard to pick up on camera, but I promise you it's there. Sitting here, nice and comfy. I like how high the door panel comes up. The problem is the backseat passenger, that's a zonk. That's hard plastic. Hard as a plastic rock. Pull this down. It's got some charm and softness to it. 2 cup holders, and you still have that two-tone setup with the interior. Now, when it comes to moving the seats, you can, but you got to reach behind you. So you could go like this and sit like this, very proper. But if you want to be chilling like a villain, you got to reach over, and then you could tilt it back a little bit. Now you're just like, just chilling. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into that cargo area, because I want to show you what the Prologue brings. All right, guys, the last key to any SUV puzzle, no matter how big or how small, is going to be that cargo area. Now, what you're going to do is you just hit that button, nice electric assist, rises up at a good pace, and what you're going to be greeted to is some very usable cargo room. What are we looking at when it comes to hard numbers? 25.2 cubic feet of space with the seats up. Fold them down, you're looking at 57.7 cubic feet of space. Now, what I like is that they actually carved out a couple nooks back here. And this is another area where you could put a box of Twinkies. On both sides, you have LED lighting. There's our other nook to prove it on the passenger side. You lift up the cargo floor. This is where you're going to have your charging accessories. Or if, say you have been told by the doctor you need to cut down on the snacks and the sweets, you could hide all of the snacks and the sweets back here and nobody will know. But just remember, secrets don't make friends. Now, when it comes to putting down the seats, it's very easy peasy. All you gotta do is just push up top and they almost fly right out of your hands. So there goes one side, that 60-40 tango split. There goes the other side, and that's gonna maximize that cargo hauling, especially if you're going to Costco and it's been a few months. You could really load up the back of this Prologue with just about whatever you need there. But of course, you want to go for a spin. I want to go for a spin. Maybe we'll go, it'd be nice to go on throttle on this fake road that's in the background here, but it's not time for that yet. That moment will be happening. This was all about bringing you the first in-depth details on this Honda Prologue, but we gotta go, we gotta catch another plane, so let's wrap it up from Motor City. All right, guys, like I promised, this was an electrifying experience with this 2024 Honda Prologue. I definitely want to thank the whole Honda team for inviting us out so that we could get you the lowdown on all the info with their first full production battery electric vehicle. But let me know what you think. Has Honda really come into their own with this vehicle, taking all of the Honda magic from over the years and bringing it with the new tech and that twin motor setup on our all-wheel drive Elite trim? Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rides family. Of course, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for LG Raiti working that camera like a champ. Show Lori some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for lighting up everybody's lives. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.